You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
Goes by the name of Arian Foster. Welcome, sir.
What's up, boss? How you doing?
Former NFL running back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you
Played
like
for the
being
Texans and Dolphins.
Yeah. Do you like being introduced as former NFL running back? I mean,
I don't mind it. I was,
absolutely.
but I don't try to use it as my persona.
Yeah, because it seems like when it comes to football players or like athletes in general, they always just try to keep them in that identity all the time.
Yeah, people try to typecast you, and you kind of have to fight those stereotypes all the time.
Absolutely.
Let's talk, before we get into his music, let's talk football a little bit. Now, you played with the Texans and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And people always say, if I had a child, I wouldn't let him play football.
Right.
And how do you feel about that?
I agree.
Really?
I got two sons, and they're not gonna play football. Yeah, I don't think the science on it was out when I was a kid, so it wasn't clear, and it was now we have the data that says it's not healthy for your brain, and so so far I'm relatively unscathed mentally, but the onset of that stuff doesn't come on until years later, so who knows what's gonna happen. But for me, it was worth it because I've secured my family's future. So
it's impossible to play football and like escape without receiving some type of head trauma, brain injury, like.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I would say your chances, you have greater chance getting brain injury, like CTE, having those degenerative effects on your brain if you continually bash it against a wall.
So what are you gonna tell your son to do with all that size? Because they ain't not gonna be small.
Who knows what they're gonna be, man? But I'm telling them to, I don't know, get things off the shelf. Go to school, man.
And you're rapping now.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of surprised, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's Arian." I was like,
oh, so you heard it? That's what you. Okay, cool.
We was listening to Watermelon this morning.
Okay, cool. Okay.
The song Watermelon,
Yeah.
like that. That's a black stereotype. So what is the significance
Well,
of that title?
It's called Watermelon Sunrise, and it's kind of a metaphor for like when it's early in the morning and you kind of seize the day. So the chorus goes, I grab my watermelon sunrise and take another drink of you.
Do you care about that stereotype?
What's that?
The watermelon.
No.
Yeah.
Watermelon is delicious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a fruit.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it became a black fruit.
Nah, watermelon is delicious. Chicken's delicious. Whatever.
When you start rapping? What got you into rap?
I haven't. Let's see. I started when I was like 12. I've been making music since I was like a little kid. That's all. It was my first love, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, everybody raps. I kind of liken it to like in the 50s, like everybody had a doo-wop group, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just people try to find the best way they can to artistically express themselves.
Right.
And now we have the technology where everybody can kind of do it. And so I'm an advocate for it if you're passionate about it, and I definitely am. So.
Have you been rapping throughout your whole career, or is it one of those things you just left for a little bit? And...
No, I've recorded like thousands of songs, and so I like to think I'm relatively polished, and so I'm really not doing it for any kind of notoriety or everything, but it's just I think this is the kind of society we live in where art reflects culture, and I think you should partake in that at all costs.
Is it therapeutic for you?
Absolutely. I have a line in the outro where it says, I need it more than I love it, and that's what it became to me. So it's like anytime like there's any kind of imbalance in my life, it's probably because I haven't been writing. And so I was writing poetry and things since I was as a child too. So
is that what intrigues you about rap?
It's just music. Music is life.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine life without music, and so I'm a music head. So like I've my catalog is kind of eclectic. So like I grew up on like Earth, Wind and Fire, Parliament, stuff like that. My father and my mother grew up in the country, so I used to listen to like Patsy Cline and shit like that. Ooh, okay, cuss.
Good.
Yeah. So like my taste is diverse. So I fell in love with it. So I respect the art. That's the one thing. I wanted to put out something while I was playing, but I didn't feel like I could give it the love that it needed. So
the production is lush.
I appreciate
Like
it.
it's like it sounds rich.
Yeah. I mean, I care about the craft, and so I didn't. It's not like a gimmick. So it's something that means something to me. So I outsourced musicians because I play the piano a little bit, and the dudes that I make the production with, we're good at what we do, but we understand that there's another level to musicianship, and so we outsource musicians. This is something I couldn't do while I was playing in the league because I was trying to be one of the best in the world.
Now you're from the West Coast, so what rappers influenced you, if any?
Obviously, Pac is my favorite of all time. I was kind of up on Jay-Z a little late, but he definitely influenced me late. I really didn't listen to Jay-Z till like 2009.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
it's crazy. Yeah, I just didn't. I don't know why it just didn't resonate with me. And then I doubled back on his catalog. I was like, oh shit, that's.
I feel like that about Reasonable Doubt though. 'Cause I was such a Wu-Tang fan.
Yeah.
That by the time Reasonable Doubt came around in '96, I'm like, I don't want to hear that Big Willie talk. Who's this guy talking about all his money and all that? I didn't get on Jay until Screechers watching. That song was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That late?
Yeah, but then I didn't really start listening to him till Hard Knock Life album. That's when I went back to listen to In My Lifetime Volume 1 Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah. I think Blueprint 3 was the first time I was like, all right, let me check out this album.
Yikes.
And then I was like, oh shit, let me double back.
All right.
Now I was reading your bio, and they said that when you were a kid, a teacher asked what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said be an NFL star, she kind of just like started laughing, kind of downplayed it a lot.
Right.
Now, how did that affect you? Did that make you want to go harder, or was it one of those things you was like, well, maybe she's right?
No, I didn't see any other way. I grew up in a small town called Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I went to high school in San Diego. So that was an interesting dynamic. But like when you're growing up in a small town like that, it was a weird atmosphere, man. There was a lot of that not necessarily like you need to have a backup plan or something. It was just more like you can't do that. And looking back, I was, it angered me, but like as an adult now, I'm like, maybe she was telling me the right thing.
No, I mean, you did. But your dad played in the league too, so you've seen it. It's not like it was something that you couldn't see.
Well, he got cut his rookie year from the Denver. He had a tryout basically, so it wasn't like I saw him play in the league or any success from it because we still grew up extremely poor. We struggled, but I think a lot of like I have an E60. Like they did E60 on me a while back, and I look back at it, it's hilarious. So I'm in my high school, I'm talking to kids, and they're saying, I'm having a speech to them, and I'm like, don't listen to the adults here, like do what you want to do with your life. And I'm looking back like that was a stupid thing to say.
Why is that though?
Because when you're talking to kids, they're susceptible to influence, right? Mm-hmm. And so that is not very good advice to have. It's the advice that you need to have. That you should have them is like have dreams, but understand the percentages that are there for your dreams. Does that make sense?
I have dreams and understand that those dreams are yours, and people may try to discourage you from your dreams, but those are still your dreams.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely fight for it, but understand that there's 32 teams in the NFL. Understand that there's 32 teams in the NBA. Understand there's like maybe 10 to 20 rappers or entertainers that make a great living.
100%.
Even actors, if you look at actors, like there's a small list of people that are making a good living. The rest of them are struggling.
Radio.
And so, yeah, it's real. And so like when you're talking to kids, like, and there's millions of kids. There's 300 million people in America. Right. So like if you just look at the percentages, your percentages are low. So if you want to go after a dream, understand the work that it's going to take. It's not just going to happen, but there's nothing wrong with having a backup plan. There's nothing wrong with
I kind of disagree though. I think that, if you really want to do it and you really put the effort and really strive and grind for it, I think you could get to any place you want to get.
I agree to a certain extent, but
I mean, unless you're a midget and you want to play in the NBA, like that's not gonna happen.
But truth be told, there's plenty of people who have worked super hard and still didn't get to the NFL.
That's the problem is when you're looking at like the sample size is just it's not big. It's not big enough, right? So I'm not saying don't go follow your dreams. I'm saying there's a certain amount of reality that you have to live in. Mm. And when you're dealing with kids and dealing with people in general, you're just dealing with a bell curve, right? So you have outliers who are just going to be amazing at what they do, and you have people who are just not going to get it, and you have a lot of people that kind of reside in the middle. So you kind of want to talk to that crowd because the outliers are going to go. You know what I mean? So they don't need a lot of encouragement. Like I didn't really need a lot of inspiration. I found it from whatever. I found it from a homeless man. That's inspiration.
Right.
So like when you're talking to a group of kids, I think it's more responsible to give them reality than to sell them a dream.
Well, that's what I tell kids all the time. You got 168 hours in a week. So that's more than enough time to chase your dreams, but also to deal with your reality.
Yeah.
Like the reality is you got to go to school. The reality is you got to get a job. You got to pay your bills. So you got to do both. Yeah. And I also agree, like you can't tell kids not to listen to adults.
Yeah, it was bad. I look at it back, I was like, what was I talking about? But I was in the midst of my dream. I was like, I did this. Anybody could do this. And I'm not really saying that nobody can't do this. I don't even think that's a double negative. But it's just the percentages are small, and there's nothing wrong. Like people like. There's nothing wrong with having a good job and living a good life.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Success is subjective. People don't understand that.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I tell them too is you have to, before you start up on any kind of dream, define what success means to you, or else you're gonna end up chasing the shadow. You're gonna end up chasing that rainbow, and there's nothing there.
Absolutely.
Even if it's money, like have a limit because you're gonna be out here forever.
Right. Absolutely. Now Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
How many UFO sightings did you see?
Here you go, man.
Come on, let's talk about it. I think we talked about this before.
We did, man. I've never seen a UFO. My mother claims she has.
You know that New Mexico is home to one of the most famous UFO sightings ever, Roswell?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about this.
Yeah.
Sorry about what?
I'm not an advocate of conspiracy theories.
People saw it.
No, they said they saw it. So it's like, man, I don't want to tell people what they did and didn't see, but there is a logical way to assess the reality we live in, and I feel like it's more reasonable to do that than to just subscribe to any else's. It's dangerous when you subscribe to any else's conspiracy.
Well, people get mad when you say you saw a UFO. I'm not telling you I saw E.T. I didn't say I saw Alf. I just saw something in the sky that was unidentified. Right. It was a flying object.
Say you saw something.
Right. I mean, I definitely have not seen anything. That's for sure, man. I would love to though. I hope that there is life out there and they care about us. I doubt it though.
That brings me to my next question, right? Smoking weed.
Right.
Now,
how did that bring you to the next question?
I think a lot of people are high when they see the UFOs. Now, Matt Barnes was up here the other day, and he was talking about players smoking weed, and he said he feels that players should be able to smoke weed. What's your thoughts on players smoking weed?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm an advocate for it. I partake in it occasionally. Mm-hmm. I did when I was in the NFL. I mean, the majority of players I know that are in the NFL smoke weed.
How you get around testing?
Well, they only test you one time a year. Or street drugs, and this is the shit that kills me about cats that get busted for weed. It's like you know that they're gonna test you for. There's like a 3-month period where it's like, okay, it's gonna come. It's random, but it's in between these 3 months, and then once they test you, you're good until the next year. So I'm like, how the hell you can't just put it down for a month?
Like, I was high. Crazy. I forgot.
I mean, it's bad. But if you're looking at, I mean, it's the problem with the NFL in general is. They pretend to care about players, but they don't. Like, so you pump them full of opioids, you pump them full of painkillers, which is ruining livers, it's ruining the longevity of your life. But you're banning the medicinal use of weed, and I'm sure the science is super clear on it, but I know it's better than having your liver messed up. So. I mean, that's just the NFL though. They're very reactive.
Did it help with pain and stuff?
Yeah, I did. I had a back surgery in 2013, and Percocet or any kind of painkiller like that, it makes me like nauseous and throw up. And so I had a back surgery for like 2 weeks. I couldn't really like move, and so my dad went to the dispensary, got me some weed, and he was like, "Take this," and it helped.
Your pops did.
Yeah.
Oh, he knew.
My pops is OG, man. Yeah. They used to call him Bo in college because he always had Colombian weed.
Did you ever play high? You ever play the game high?
No. I wouldn't take it there. I can't do a lot of things high, so when I do it, I just do it to like it's like a nightcap. I just relax and watch a movie or something like that.
Now you don't wear suits either.
No, I don't have any suits.
I like your reasoning.
Yeah. I think you should be comfortable. I think I don't like them.
What's the reason? Tell everybody what.
Well, I don't remember what I told you the reason was, but the reason now is I just feel like you should be as comfortable as possible. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of what we do in this society is fronting, and that's part of it. And not saying that, like, again, if I'm talking to kids, I'm like, yo, wear the suit to the job interview. But as for me, I'm a retired successful NFL player. Like I don't. There's no need for me to wear a suit. I'm not really into fashion like that. So I'm into comfortability.
Now, we live in this era. One thing I like about you is like you're not afraid to have freedom of thought.
Yeah.
Because people are afraid to have like other ideas, especially in the black community. We act like we all have to think one way and it's one blueprint for us to follow. Like, what do you think of this whole concept of freedom of thought?
Well, I think we've been conditioned as a people in general, subsets of people and as a society as a whole. So I think it's important to think about why you think the way you think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like think about the things that you believe in. Think about the things that you subscribe to, and why do I believe this? Why do I believe these things? Because a lot of I mean it's coming out too. A lot of the things that we spend a lot of our time on is just the internet. You're being programmed, and not to sound like all wokish, but it's the truth. Like you're actually being fed an echo chamber of the things that you believe in. So like
social engineer.
Yeah, there's algorithms setting these social media platforms that are feeding you things that you want to hear, and so you have to proactively go out and seek conflicting opinions. Like you have to do that. You have to check your bias, or else you're gonna end up believing that you're right all the time, and you might be, but making sure you are is more healthy than not.
And it's essentially making you dumber. Because if you're not learning any new information and you're just in an echo chamber and you're just repeating the same things over and over, eventually what you know is going to be dated.
And the super problem that's plaguing us right now is, like they coined it. It's called identity politics. So it's like we're picking sides and we're getting further and further apart, politically, ideologically. Because of these things. And now, like, when you sit down across from somebody who is a Trump supporter or is whatever the case may be, it's like they've attacked your personal, everything that you stand for. And, like, you can't even have a civil discourse with them just because you don't agree on something. Like, you can have friends that are Trump supporters. It's not that, like, it is, there are serious issues plaguing this country, but, like, have a conversation and don't get caught up in that whirlwind of ideas.
Yeah, and it makes you automatically biased.
Yeah.
Like you tell me you're a Trump supporter, and automatically all my bias already kicks in. So I'm not even listening to what's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be addressed, and I think the babies of this generation will have to figure out a remedy. But it's literally ripping people apart. I mean, I've had like family members like I don't talk to anymore because of our political ideas, and I'm like, it's not that serious, but it is to them. So
are you a Trump supporter?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hell no.
Oh, all right.
Not at all.
Yeah, but I've been meeting a lot of black Trump supporters lately.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a whole different conversation. Yeah.
And not necessarily because of policy, just because he's not a politician per se, right?
Yeah, that's what people like. A lot of people like the political incorrectness of him. They like the fact that he speaks his mind. He's radical.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that. But what I do like is he's broken the mold of what a politician should be now.
Yeah.
Right. So from here on out, like we don't have this standard for what a politician should look and sound like.
Politicians don't have to play politics.
Yeah, well, I don't think they do anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the next one, I mean, I don't think he's qualified. Honestly,
Me neither.
I don't think that. I mean, who is qualified to run the country? You know what I mean?
Yes, but he's trash. We know this, but what you just said is absolutely right. Politicians don't have to play politics anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like outsiders can come in and really shake up the establishment.
But it's dangerous too because I don't think it should turn into a celebrity race, a popularity contest.
I agree.
That's going to be dangerous. So I feel like this is why I feel like if you have to check your ideologies and know why you believe what you believe, because I believe living in a rational society, in a reasonable society, and having reason to live or to do things and to believe things is the most successful way to usher us into the future diplomatically.
Now, what's your mission with the Arian Foster Family Foundation?
That's a foundation I started a while back, and basically it's just giving back. It's philanthropy, and I think everybody has a responsibility to give back. And we focus on inner city youth. We focus on financial literacy and food programs for kids that are in food deserts and trying to get healthy foods to them. It's a problem in our communities. You got corporations like McDonald's that market strictly to black people, and so we're just trying to give them healthy options and provide them with different things to do.
Now let's talk about this album. Album's out right now. What's the name of the album?
It's called Flamingo and Koval.
What's the meaning of the name of the album?
Flamingo and Koval was the intersection where Tupac died, and it's for shock value, but it's for personal purposes. Obviously, Tupac is my favorite rapper of all time. I don't think he's the greatest rapper of all time, but I think he's my favorite. He's the one that touched me when I was a child. I sat and cried to some of his songs in the room. If you said that about
Michael Jackson, that'd be wild.
Come on, man.
Stop it. You touched me when I was a child.
You're right. Michael Jackson did not touch me as a child in Neverland, man. No, but so the intersection where he died, I feel like hip hop took a hit there, and I just feel like it was a metaphor for a good metaphor for somebody who's coming into the music game, and it's a dope title.
What do you think? Do you think anybody in this generation? Because everybody wants to be Pac, but do you think there's anybody that we've seen who's even come close?
No. Pac was different. I think Kendrick's probably the closest. You got Kendrick, Cole. I think to in order to have
they're the closest to the good side of Pac.
Yeah. But I think Pac was a revolutionary in the fact that like he wanted to start his own political party. Like that's so forward thinking in the 90s. Like you have a young kid thinking like that, and it's crazy to think he died at the age of 25, right? So I think I don't think you should even like. Is there a Pac? Like nah, Pac was Pac, and like these cats nowadays are these cats. So you just let them live. I don't think like comparisons are going to do them no good or Pac. So.
What do you think? What about Pac's energy you think would change things now if he was here?
I thought about that, man, and I used to think like, oh, if Pac was here, the game would be different. Like, I'm not sure it would. I mean, if you look at, we have Jay-Z, and we're in the state we're in.
Yeah.
I think Jay-Z is one of the most influential, intelligent human beings that have ever graced music. So. If you have that cat that's still around and you have some of the stuff going on in the genre, like how much different would it be? I don't know. Like these young cats don't care about that kind of influence anymore. They care about social currency.
And I don't know if old Pac would be respected. Because you got to think he'd be older now. He'd be almost 50.
It's hard to tell. He's 25. It's hard to tell like what like the reason why Jay-Z is respected as he is because he moved in a way that had never been seen before. Like he moved like a Diddy. He was a mogul. He said, "I'm going to take this and I'm going to build a foundation around me that's iconic." And who knows what Pac's ideologies would have been. I feel like he was more of like a grassroots. Like for the people, like he's the kind of cat that walked in like house parties, like when you're like the most famous rapper in the world. That's crazy. Right. So who knows how he would have grown and how he would have been received. But
that's what I mean. The allure of Pac was the rebellion, the recklessness.
Yeah,
all that comes with youth.
Yeah,
and once you get older, you ain't with that bullshit no more.
That's
what I mean?
True. I mean, I don't. Like I said, it's hard to tell, but I think Pac was just one of those cats that you just fell in love with the persona. So I don't know if that would have fell off. I still love him.
If you was in the NFL, would you kneel?
I did kneel.
You did kneel?
Yeah, I did kneel. 2000 on 9/11. So I got the death threats. Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, when you was in Miami.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that one of the reasons you think you got out the league or?
No, I got out of the league because I was just tired of playing.
Got you.
Yeah, it didn't fulfill me anymore. But I absolutely would continue to. I would never. And they give it. If I'm at a ballpark now, I'm not going to stand for the national anthem anymore. And it's not necessary. That's the beautiful thing that happened with that protest. I don't think it was structured in a way for there to be any gain from it, but it was enlightening to myself. I had no idea that the national anthem was a racist song. It was written to be a racist song by a racist telling slaves not to run away. And so I'm like, why are we still honoring that? Like we have some of the most brilliant artists in the world. Like we can't write another national anthem.
Right.
But we're so stuck on history and heritage that it's blasphemy to even mention that. Nah, I still don't stand. If I'm at a basketball game, I'm cool.
And you received death threats when you did?
Of course, yeah. It's part of the reason why some of my family don't talk to me no more either. Yeah,
Really?
On my mother's side, they my cousin served in the military, and he didn't even want to hear me out. He's just like, he cussing my mother out. So I called him. I was like, what's going on? And he expressed his piece. I'm like, are you even interested in the dialogue? And he's like, no, you're disrespecting America, you're disrespecting this. I'm like, how? Like, that narrative is such a false narrative, and you have no logic behind it, and you're not even interested in the dialogue. You're just so emotional. But like I said, it's the world we live in. You got to check your opinions.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when it comes to police brutality, like that's a lot of it is unconstitutional. Isn't that unpatriotic? Not honoring
Well, they don't.
people's rights?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
civil liberties.
People love the truth until it's against their ideas. 100% is against the Constitution. Some of these laws are against the Constitution. Like, this country is a beautiful country. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the greatest countries on earth and has ever been. But there's nothing wrong with progress. There's nothing wrong with critique.
I just don't like hypocrisy. Like, don't treat your veterans like shit, but then tell me I'm being unpatriotic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, every other homeless sign I see on the corner is vet. Right. And, granted, some of that might be for sympathy purposes, but vets will tell you we have some of the worst veteran programs ever. But that's why it's a facade. It's why the NFL is having so much trouble right now. They're so reactionary. You don't want to have a real conversation. You don't want to have real dialogue that can impact people. All you want to do is just make sure your ratings are okay.
All right.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe in God?
Define God.
Because I'm reading here, they said that you were raised Muslim, and then you later on said that that's not where you wanted to be, in more of an atheist.
Right.
So what do you believe in?
It's a loaded question. I believe atheism gets misrepresented a lot. So atheism is it's not an assertion that there is no God. It's a position on the claim that there is a God, right? So if you tell me there's a God, I just say I don't believe it. So it's not like I'm saying there is no God. So I'm not of the I'm not of the belief that there is a God.
So what do you believe in?
Tupac, he already told you. What's wrong with you?
Well, it's like when you say, what do you believe in? It's like, I believe in a lot of things. I believe, I just don't have not an opinion. I don't take the position that there is a higher power. It's not something that's like, I don't pray to the atheism God. You know what I mean? It's just a lack of belief. Everybody's in atheism with respect to everything except for their God, right? Like, you don't believe that Thor is a real God, or Zeus, or
Charlamagne
Mithra.
believes in Black Panther. He might believe in Wu-Tang.
I mean, as he
Why
should.
wouldn't I believe in Thor, Zeus? Why wouldn't I believe in Thor, Zeus? What's wrong with Thor, Zeus? And Loki?
You think they're really up there?
Nah.
Sending lightning bolts?
Nah, I think they existed at some point in time, and I think that over time stories get exaggerated like they tend to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King Jr. will be walking on water in another 20 years.
Well, that's what I feel. That's what I feel what happened with Jesus and Muhammad. And like, maybe the historicity of them can be attested to a certain extent, but as far as the divinity, we have no evidence of that. So I just live my life like that.
I mean, look how we talk about Tupac now. Like, he faked his death, and he was, he's going.
But that's a conspiracy theory shit. Like, you got to check that.
He was about to be the next Malcolm X, so the government took him out. Like, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, it gets crazy the game of telephone.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Now, can we hear you spit before we get up out of here?
You feel like that would be advantageous?
No, I don't think you should do it. You got to hold out my direct him to the album.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's Familiar Koval drops 4/26, man. It's a passion project for me, and I really think that it's better than a lot of the stuff out, man. If you like live instrumentation, music, words, content that is well thought out, it's for you, man.
And go Google advantageous. All right?
Advantageous.
Advantageous.
Well, we appreciate you for joining us.
For
Arian
sure.
Foster.
For sure.
It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Much love.